No, honestly, Miami has a bunch of things that are interesting. You have the food, you have the nightlife, right? We can't take the nightlife away
No,
from
no.
Miami. You have the places to visit, you have the beaches, and I think all of that is attractive, and I think those are things that people want. People want what they can't have, and there are many places that they don't have beaches. The truth of the matter is, many people come to Miami during the winter time in their states, in their countries, because Miami only has one season, summer.
Welcome to the Real Talk Miami. I am Luis Perez. To my right, I have Jazmine Muse, Javier Gonzalez, three real estate professionals here in the most vibrant, beautiful city in the world, Miami, Florida, which is also going to be the topic of today. Now, for those of you who don't know who we are, on the Real Talk Miami, we want to bring you guys the inside scoop on real estate trends, business insights, and financing tips. We want to be your go-to source for all things real estate. On this podcast, not only will we be talking amongst ourselves like we've been doing for these last few shows, but we'll also be interviewing industry leaders very soon. That's something you guys don't want to miss out on. Real people, real stories, real talk.
Real talk.
So without further ado, let's get on with the show. How you guys doing today?
You know, that is my favorite question. I love that. Actually, my day was great today. I had these chicken nuggets at the office. Really, really good. Vegan. Somebody brought them over. And
Vegan chicken
have you guys
nuggets?
ever had vegan chicken nuggets?
No. First time I heard about that.
No? Okay, I suggest you try them from Publix.
Okay.
What's the brand?
I think Morningstar or I don't know.
We have to check those.
And they taste the same?
Yeah.
For real?
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I won't say I'm not gonna bring.
I mean,
beef.
I've had vegan restaurants.
No
I've eaten
punch.
at the vegan Cuban cuisine, and I ate at the food truck not too long ago. Vegan on the run.
You like?
Vegan on the run. Oh my god, the burgers that they make, the sauces, all those things.
And they are 100% vegan?
100% plant based. I made sure to ask, how do you make the bread? They said, I forgot what they said.
I think you said almond flour.
Almond flour. I was like,
Wow.
okay, that's pretty interesting. And I mean, to me, it tasted pretty good. They make it with bacon. They make it with a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Nice. Those are two good places to try out if you're gonna try out vegan food. But the chicken nuggets, I'll keep in mind.
I love food, and if I have something good in my day, it already my day's already boom here.
It makes your
It's
day a lot better. So
Today was great too. It was also very busy running around too.
yeah,
Despite this being a crazy week, if you guys have seen the news, the strike on the port,
That had me a little scared.
that had me really scared. And also the news about North Carolina and Georgia and Northern Florida has been devastating. So it's been a crazy week.
There's a lot of things going on at the same
Yeah,
time.
that's a lot of
they
things.
said that gas prices were gonna go up to like $5.
Yeah, do you guys remember when I think it was last year, a huge rain we had here in Miami? The Everglades Port was closed. You remember that?
I don't remember that.
Remember that?
I don't
No.
remember.
My whole neighborhood was out of gas.
No.
I remember. I don't remember the port exactly, but I remember the time that there was a shortage of gas
Yeah.
and water, I think, and paper. I think
I don't know how many inches of rain they fall like in 1-2 days or something like that. But for the airport, if you drove by the I-95, you can see the cars up the windows, the water. Airport was closed. You remember that?
Yes, yes.
So I was thinking about that.
The Fort Lauderdale airport.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
But it's really close. The airport from the port, it's really close. It's not
Yes,
far
I
from there.
remember.
And I was thinking about that. If the strike prolongs too much, prices are gonna skyrocket.
They expect it to last
And not
a
only
little
gas, everything.
We already have an inflationary market.
Yeah, imagine on top of that.
Well, listen, I don't think he gave me permission to say so, but if we go short on bananas, my cousin has a banana tree in his backyard, so we're covered there.
We're good to go there.
Thank God. So
It's good to be here.
Yeah, on with the show more or less today. We're going to be talking about, in our opinion, why Miami's real estate market is booming, why this is the place to be at if you're an investor.
We started on such an opposite note. You're selling Miami, and then we were talking about that we're having a strike.
I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta get the crazy with the good. So Miami's full of crazy. There's no doubt about it. But it's a beautiful city. I mean, known for its tourism, known for the beaches that it has. I mean, fun fact, I'm pretty sure you guys know this. over 90 high rises being built as we
Yeah.
speak, second only to New York. That's always a good sign. But Javier, why do you think Miami's real estate market is booming? Why do you think this is the place to be at?
I have had the opportunity to, on my previous work, to like r- fly around this country, almost the whole country.
Wow.
Around, I remember one time I was on the road like 15 to 21 days without going without going home. It was work. It was good. I had the opportunity to meet, to get to know people from other states, from other cities, to get to know the cities, to get to know the environment, to get mixed with the economy, with like a little bit of everything. And that I realized that there's nothing like Miami.
Yeah.
Everybody asked me, "What do you think? Where would you live if you were not living here in Miami? Where would you be?" And I say, "Here in Miami."
I'm already where I want
Here
to
in Miami.
be.
There's something. You have to be here to feel it, to sense it, to I don't know. But there's something about this city that makes it different. I don't know. Maybe it's the mix of cultures. Maybe
The food.
let's keep with the food.
The fact that things are open past 8 o'clock at night.
Oh, that's a huge one.
Yes.
I remember. Let's say, for example, Denver, Colorado. I used to travel a lot there.
Denver.
9 p.m. You cannot find everything besides McDonald's.
Yeah.
Everything is closed, but
For real?
yeah, for real, nothing.
I mean, Miami has its like negatives, the traffic.
Yeah, of course.
The sometimes the weather can be a negative, but it's funny. Sometimes you don't appreciate something until you leave. When you're excited to go on vacation, I mean, it's exciting because it's a vacation nonetheless. But then when you're out for if you're out for more than a week, that's when you start missing home.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The food. And I think my biggest, like, I guess you could say pet peeve is when places shut down by 7 o'clock at night. That does not happen here in Miami.
No.
At all.
No,
not even the food trucks.
No, no.
Nobody's closing that early.
Nice. You could go anywhere. It's
Yeah, the
11 o'clock
nightlife.
at night. Well, I don't think 11 o'clock at night. That's an exaggeration, but there's places that are open at that time as well. But for the most part, most restaurants. I mean.
But I mean, I want to add on to going back a little bit to what you were asking about the sky rises. There's a lot of movement going on in Miami.
Oh yeah.
I think you said more than 90 buildings. I don't know where they find the land, but somehow they always do.
Yeah.
That's a huge question. Where did
That's
they find
my
the
biggest
space?
question.
Where they find the space to build a 50-story building?
Yeah.
I'm starting to think it's not true.
We have been a few new construction. We have been with the office, and it's amazing how they find the space, how they manage to improve the space, to use every single land properly, every single inch of land properly. It's amazing.
And each of those projects has like a different vision, a different target, a different niche, which is really neat.
Yeah.
I think kind of like Miami is gonna start looking. I don't know if you guys have been to Canada, but I was there recently, and it reminded me a lot. I mean, Toronto is a whole different beast, but Toronto, in comparison to New York, the amount of sky rises that they have, and very futuristic too.
Right.
I don't know. Miami is trying to emulate something similar. I mean, I know that they're being compared to New York and stuff like that.
Absolutely, especially Brickell.
Yeah,
financial
the
hub here.
Brickell area. But if I had to say, like, if I had to pick another city, I would say Toronto is definitely a comparison because at least that's where I think Miami's headed to those futuristic
The
towers.
prices in Canada are horrible from what I've
Yeah,
heard.
I think they're higher than here.
They're horrible. Yeah. So I mean, if that's where Miami's headed, then you guys better buy now.
You better buy now.
And another thing that doesn't get mentioned is the unemployment rate here in Miami, Florida. 2024 was 2.8%. That's extremely low.
That's extremely low. Yeah.
And for people that don't know, I like to tie these things together. If you have low unemployment, the application for mortgages tend to be higher. Whereas if unemployment is higher, the application for mortgages are going to be lower. So in a city like our own where unemployment is, extremely low, tells you a lot of, the demand that there is going to be for housing. And, for example, if unemployment was higher, that would mean that there's also going to be more foreclosures in the market, and that's going to put downward pressure on prices.
Yeah.
So those are things that, people have to take into consideration. But what about you, Jasmine?
I mean, I think that another factor, I mean, Miami's attractive for different reasons, but I think there's a few things going for it. And I think personally, and all of us here sitting here today are Hispanics, Latinos. I think the influx of foreign investors is definitely
yeah.
one of the other key factors in Miami's growth
Yep.
recently. I think after the pandemic, and I mean, the office has been around for more than 50 years. I haven't been around for more than 50 years, but at least in the short period of time that I've been up to date with the market, after the pandemic, you've seen this boost in foreign investors because for whatever reason, XYZ reason, I mean, most reasons typically tend to be economic or political factors.
Yeah.
Yeah. These Hispanics, they want to move their money out of their country, and what place safer than the United States?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
we're seeing a lot of influx of foreign investment, particularly in these new construction projects.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, some of these new construction projects, they're offering visas to incentivize the foreign investor.
EB5.
Not all of them, right? Yeah, the EB5 is a very common one. You have the EB2, which I haven't heard of any projects offering the EB2. But I mean, that is a visa that they could take advantage of, but the EB5 is a very common one. I think as of right now, we only have 2 projects that are pitching that as an incentive. But either way, there's a lot of things going for Miami, and these foreign investors, they want a piece of it. We have, and before you go there, we have a lot of Miami's very attractive in terms of rentability, right?
Absolutely.
We have tourism not just from Latin America, but we have tourism coming in from all sorts of places. So the foreign investors also thinking, hey, Miami's a great investment to make because I'm gonna get a return on my money, on my investment.
I want to add not only that, but I believe that it's the familiarity. People who are investing from South America, in Miami, you have so much cultural diversity. Like, I'm pretty sure from the 200 plus countries that exist in the world, you have probably one person from each of those countries.
Yeah, you're gonna find
Florida. Like,
Yeah,
you could find it all.
Look.
You could find it all, and so that definitely, I believe, adds to the fact. What you mentioned, that over 30% foreign investor, a 30% increase in foreign national investments.
Yeah, definitely a lot more after the pandemic. And I mean, we are here in Miami, Florida, right? So our main focus is the state of Florida. Top destinations for foreign investors, actually, Florida is
And
number
not only
one.
foreign investors.
Yeah.
After the pandemic, there was people, the business owner realized that they could manage most of the business from wherever they were, because the pandemic forced us to become like digital nomads, for calling it some way. A lot of people realized that they could be right here, sit on the beach, and they could give the commands for the company, whatever that. Also, a lot of people retired. A lot of people sold their business.
A lot of people didn't like the state that they were living in.
Yeah.
Climate.
That's the climate's one of the reasons. The taxes, maybe that's another huge reason. The economy, I think it's Florida. It's Florida in general. It's like the top of this country. That's my opinion. That's my humble opinion. There's no. That's just my perspective from what I'm seeing it.
No, and the numbers speak for themselves.
Exactly. That's the way. And the people realize that they had like 2-3 years ago. I was getting my license, and I learned this from my teacher. 2-3 years ago, the people had in California, in New York, New Jersey, they had houses that they were worth $500, $600, $700, $1 million, and they could buy a house here in Boca, in Pompano Beach, in nice places for $300, $500.
They could buy 2 houses.
You could buy 2 houses, and you could rent one. You could own 2 houses cash. Actually, my teacher, I'm not really sure about this statistic, but he was talking about the usual cash purchases rate here in Florida. It's from every 10, 1 operation is cash only.
More or less.
2 years, like 2-3 years ago, it was 9 out of 10.
Wow.
That's a huge number, because and you could see the stories from people that were in the way to get the mortgage approved, and then suddenly somebody bought the houses they were looking for.
I was experiencing 2 years, not 2 years ago, but like a year and a half ago, the market was insane, man. Any property had at least 4 or 5 people that were looking at it. There was always the one guy that had the cash to buy it. I even had the clients that were buying cash, and they would always win, even if it was a few dollars. If one person was financing at the ask, but my client came in cash a little less,
they were going to sell it. they were gonna sell it. That's it. It's less paperwork. It's easier. It's faster. It's everything. So I don't know. I'm not quite sure about that as a statistic, but let's say 5 out of 10. It's huge. So, I mean, it's still huge. So I think that made that one of the factors that made the prices go skyrocketing the way they have made like in 1-2 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
So you brought up rentability. You brought up the 2 buildings that are being constructed right now that are offering EB5s. One of those buildings actually allows daily rentals. It allows Airbnb, VRBO.
Not many of them
No,
allow.
I don't
It's
think,
not
I
allowed.
don't think
because it's seen as a devaluation on the property itself.
exactly.
Well, to the owner of the building, but then to investors, I mean, that's a very
That's a contradictory.
lucrative,
Yeah.
like appealing factor that they're able to rent it as their back home, whether in another state or outside of the country. Like that, to a lot of investors, is really appealing because their money is working for
Yeah.
them behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so what do you guys think is fueling this growth in rentals here in Miami, Florida? Is it corporate relocation? You know, you have companies like Amazon, Citadel, Apple, Nvidia that have been moving down here, or is it just more so that you could get a really good return on your money here and compared to other cities? Because
Well,
for
you
example,
mean purchasing a rental, or you mean renting?
yeah, like if for example, if there's an investor at home that's looking at or it could be a regular person that's looking to invest in their first property, why should they do so here in Miami, Florida, in comparison to any other place?
Well, I mean, I think I can only speak for myself. I think that renting is becoming very big right now
Yeah.
because the truth of the matter is a good majority of people in this generation cannot afford a home on their own, so they resort to renting.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, you'll see a shift in the amount of people purchasing multifamilies, right? The person of this generation, they want to invest in a multifamily,
House hacking.
a duplex, for example.
House hacking. Yeah.
Yeah, they live in one side of the duplex and the other one they rent out, right? So the property is making a return on their money.
Exactly. If the mortgage for that property is $4,000, and for a 2-bedroom here in Miami, Florida, the average right now is about $2,000 a month,
2,000. Yeah.
No, and that depends on the area because I have statistics here. If you pick an area like Park West, 4,184 per month. If you go to Brickell, which is a very common area that a lot of people, a lot of tourists wanna go to, $3,774. And Wynwood, which is another hotspot, $3,391 per month. And honestly, I don't have the statistics on the bedrooms or bathrooms, but I could very well, I mean, take a guess and say it's anywhere between a 1 to 2 bedroom apartment.
In those areas, for sure. Brickell, I mean, Brickell is the Wall Street of Miami.
Yeah.
That is the Wall Street. That's you worked in Brickell for a short period of time. I had an internship there, and with the private equity firm.
And you feel like you're in New York.
Did you like it?
I really liked. I really liked it in this, but the thing is, I didn't live in Brickell when I was doing the internship, so I liked the feel of it because it reminded me a lot of New York. Like you could walk from a restaurant to your office place. You can walk from the office to like the Publix in the corner, and from the office to like a Walgreens in the corner. It was very centric. Like Brickell to me reminds me honestly 100% of New York in comparison to areas like Westchester, University Place, or University Park. Other areas, they're not very walkable.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the one thing that I liked about Brickell. Now, rush hour traffic, absolutely hated it.
Oh, it's one of the worst.
Hated it. There's nothing. I love to
That's the
eat.
time you want to have a Tesla to drive you home without the.
No.
When I worked there, I mind you, I live closer to the Redlands than I do to anywhere central in Central Florida, and I would wake up at 7 in the. No, that's a lie. I would wake up like at 6 in the morning to go work at Brickell, and I would arrive there like in an hour and 30 minutes.
Hour and 30 minutes. And what I was going to say, because I can't leave you guys hanging, it sounds so weird if I just say I love to eat and then I don't finish it. I love to eat. So there's nothing worse than finishing your workday at 6 o'clock and not getting home until 8 o'clock practically. Like there's something about doing that long distance drive that it just makes you moody. Like
it's not because you're working, it's because of the drive.
It's because of the drive. It's not because of the work. It's because of the drive and the traffic. It's just by the time you leave Brickell to the time you get to any destination, my bet is that you have minimum 30 minutes of traffic.
Yeah, that's a part I hate actually. Actually, if you like bricks, for calling it some way, if you like to, that's your place to be. My, let's say my ideal place to live right here around here is Davie. It's a little bit away from,
Davie?
yeah, Davie.
Yeah, but it's a different
little bit,
feel.
yeah, it's a different
Ambiance.
feel because I love it. I actually love going there, theaters, visiting places. I love the vibe. Biscayne, it's awesome. That's a place I love to visit too. I have some good friends with both there. I love to be with hang out with them. But if I say I'm gonna pick a place to buy a home for myself or my home, I'm not gonna buy around there. I'm gonna try to avoid a little bit of that noise and to
Yeah.
get more like the
More
country life,
peace.
was saying is calling some way, but it's still
A little
Miami.
bit more open, right?
A little bit more open.
You want it, but you don't want all of it.
Yeah, I like the feeling of going
Pick and
and getting
choose.
out,
Another
not
thing
living
I
there.
wanna add to as far as the rentability goes is, for those people who are looking for Airbnb or VRBO, um, it's not a complicated process. It's like setting up a business. Miami, as far as tourism goes, 23 million people annually
That's
visiting Miami,
amazing.
Florida. And so for those people who are looking at Airbnbs, like Jasmine mentioned earlier, the project that's being built, I don't think we're going to mention the name, or
No, I mean it's not coming anytime soon.
yeah, it's 2026, I believe.
2026 projections, 2027 projection, and I mean that would. I mean, you guys are looking to rent, then who better than us, right?
The average daily rental for an Airbnb in Brickell, I believe, is about $200 to $300
I'm
per
sure, and
day.
it varies. It could be more than
It
that.
could be
Yeah,
more.
it could be
Depends
more.
Honestly,
on
going back to Brickell though, if you want to live in if you work in Brickell, the only way to enjoy the Brickell lifestyle is if you live in Brickell, if you rent in
I
Brickell.
want to leave it clear. If buying an investment property in one of those new buildings as are being built is an option for somebody, they better buy now.
That's true.
Because most of the buildings we visited, they weren't even at groundbreaking, and they were like, I don't know, 30-40% sold, and there's a lot of foreign investors, out of state investors too.
Yeah.
They are buying the properties before they get to the full price of the property.
Exactly. That's a great point you just made. I actually completely missed that. Those properties are worth less before groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And once they actually are finished,
They're gonna be, I don't know, maybe
guaranteed money.
Yeah,
30-40%
the way
plus.
that they divide the like they portion out the money due up front and then blah 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 is definitely more feasible than as the project starts hitting ground and moving on up. So definitely it's an incentive to invest in a new construction property before or as it's being built.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
earlier the better because the pricing is going to change, the component of the structure is going to change as well. Like percentages, like they'll typically do like 30% down and then
Yeah.
10% do a ground break, and then I'm just throwing numbers out there. That doesn't mean that it's
Yeah.
necessarily
And I definitely want to add that we don't only work new construction, we also work single family, duplex, or any kind of multifamily. Multifamily properties you could buy with as little as 3.5% down. 3.5% down. That's leverage. Leverage is the king in real estate because it allows you to control an asset for a small amount of money and then build equity in that property to later utilize that equity to buy another property or do whatever you want with it. But definitely new construction is a great option, but we also help with multifamily, single family. These are all great options.
I mean, those are all options
Yeah.
that you have when you come down to Miami, right? Just depends
Absolutely.
what's the right property for you. What are you looking for? I mean, you have, and I hate to bring us back to new construction, but I mean, that's what we've been talking about. You have new construction buildings that they sell the property
Yeah.
fully furnished
Yeah.
with blankets and silverware. All you need to do is go across the street and buy yourself a meal to cook from Publix, right?
Right.
You
Yeah.
have those cases, and there's other cases where you have, properties that you might have to flip, or it
Yeah, it
just depends
on
what you're
it
looking
depends
for.
Depends.
on the individual itself and the type of investor. So now, what's there to do in Miami?
There's a
Wow.
little bit of everything.
Why do so many people want to come here? Why do so many people visit Miami?
Well, the thing I most like, most like, no, let's say not most like, because I love the beaches, but Wynwood. If you dig a little bit of history about Wynwood, It was a neighborhood that nobody wanted to be there. Nobody wanted to buy there. Anybody right now try to buy a property there.
Very
Try to
expensive.
rent a small piece of land to place a food truck. Maybe you see how much it costs right now. It's amazing the transformation of the place. It's amazing. It's amazing the mix of cultures. It's amazing how the economy, how the culture once again can transform a simple neighborhood, for calling it some way, because it's not simple. It's a way to call it, into what it is today. It's like a cultural capital for here in Miami. If you want to find, I don't know, any type of culture, any type of food, you like food, you can go to Wynwood. You're gonna find it, or it doesn't exist. And that's a lot of new constructions there too. I was there not long ago with my wife. We enjoy the food. We enjoy the vibe from the people. You can see what we were talking about, people from everywhere.
Yeah,
And that's a nice thing. That's a nice thing to enjoy. And you can also see the cranes and the new buildings rising over the horizon.
I mean, they're building the bridge now.
yeah. You guys want me to be honest? Wynwood, I haven't visited Wynwood.
No, that's no way.
I know it's good on the club scene. The last time that I probably went was, I mean, aside from showing houses, but like to actually visit the place was a few years back.
I would say the
No,
same.
you have to go. You have to check it.
Because I've been more to the Miami Beach area. And honestly, the Miami Beach area, Collins, those areas are really empty. I mean, I think they've all gone to the Wynwood area.
I remember
because
you had a fight for parking.
The fight for parking, and it was packed, and Collins Avenue was the thing. And I think that everybody has just left that scene and gone to Wynwood.
Well, right now you have to fight for a park in Wynwood.
In Wynwood, I can imagine. No, honestly, the Miami has a bunch of things that are interesting. You have the food, you have the nightlife, right? We can't take the nightlife away from Miami. You have the places to visit, you have the beaches, and I think all of that is attractive. And I think those are things that people want. People want what they can't have, and there are many places that they don't have beaches. The truth of the matter is, many people come to Miami during the wintertime in their states, in their countries, because Miami only has one season, summer.
Now that they mentioned that, sorry.
Me, as a woman, as the one woman in this group, I absolutely detest the humidity in Miami. And when it gets to 100 degrees and it's also humid at the same time, you feel it on your skin. It's
and your hair too.
I don't know why.
And the hair too. I have curly hair. So as soon as I step outside, even if I spend 1 hour doing my hair so nicely with a blow dryer, as soon as I step outside, that hour was wasted. Gone. Poof, out the window.
I actually enjoy the heat. To me, it gives me energy. I like to be outside in the sun, doing exercising.
I'm more like a cloud person. I love the weather like this today.
Yeah.
For me, the sun it makes me like do this with my eyes. I'm always wearing glasses. You're not gonna see me outside the street driving or whatever without glasses. If I'm not wearing them, it's because I left them home.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that we have someone in family that lives in New Jersey, and she's retired. She owns an apartment on the senior community here in Pembroke Pines, and she spends the whole New Jersey winter here in Miami, and she loves. She goes to the beaches. Maybe we stay away from the beach in January. She's at the beach.
How many times have you been to the beach this year?
I'm not saying.
That's a great question, because people that live in Miami, they don't take advantage. I can only speak for myself. I think I've gone to the beach maximum 5 times, maybe 5 to 10 times.
I think you're right, because
or maybe even less.
I don't go that often. Now, before we move on to the next topic, if you had to pick 3 restaurants to eat out in Miami, which ones are you guys gonna go with? Recommend something good to the viewers.
Limoncello.
Okay, what do they serve?
They're an Italian place.
Okay.
Like, you will get an Italian server. Like, they speak Italian to you. Super authentic. The food is really, really good. I recommend I'm not pronouncing this wrong, so my apologies. The cacio e pepe pasta, so really, really good.
Look at his face.
They
are not sponsoring us, but if they would like to sponsor, you are more than welcome to.
We have 2 special sponsors that we'll bring up.
What else? I don't know, Javier. Let me think.
There's I'm trying to remember the name. I took my wife for our university.
Oh, it must have been good then.
Yeah, it was good. It was a Greek
Oh,
and let's say it was a Mediterranean
can it be
cuisine.
Giorgio's?
No,
No.
it's Motu or Miku or
Motek.
Motek
Motek.
right there.
Was it good? I saw it the other day.
It was awesome. I haven't tasted anything like that before. Fresh, different. That's the word. Not fresh, not only fresh, different. It was like, what is this? Let me try this. What is this? What is that? Let me try that.
What did you
everything, I can pronounce that. I'm not a Greek person. I can pronounce that. But definitely
But fish?
Motek.
You had
No,
fish?
it was some kind of bread with lamb, with some kind of sauce. It was like a mix of all that, together with salad, with cheese, and with wine. And that was awesome. That was
That's a really
she's
nice one.
asking me to go back every time we're back.
When you both said one, I could go. I eat a lot of food. Like limoncello is really good. You also have recently we tried this Capitol Grill. Man, that steak was so good.
Really, really good.
That steak was so good, and we had it during the what's it called?
The Miami Spice.
Yeah, the Miami Spice Weekend, and then third, guys. This isn't no specific order, and
We're not
I love
influencers.
restaurants, so but the three that come to my mind is that one and Fleming's.
Fleming's
also
is
has
really
a great
good.
steak.
The Fleming potatoes is so soft. Just ignore the noise. Something's going on in the back.
Yeah,
Technical difficulties.
Technical
It's all
difficulties,
good.
but we're all good.
Welcome to Miami. The unpredictable. Same as the weather. You never know if it's gonna rain or if the sun's gonna come out. But I think
This is
it's
probably a great time to mention our sponsors.
yeah. I mean, might as well take the time to do a little intervention. We are sponsored by Century 21 Dorar Realty and Lion Plumbing Inc. So for all of your real estate needs, please refer to Century 21 Dorar Realty. We've been in the business for more than 50 years, and next year will be our 50th year with the brand Century 21. So we are loyal to the values. We believe in the name and the power of the company. And then Lion Plumbing. Lion Plumbing is your go-to company for anything plumbing, whether it be how do you say it, like they service hospitals, they do residential. So definitely we are recommending the best of the best, and we are sponsored by the best of the best.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Amen. So now economic factors that influence Miami's market. Earlier on, you mentioned the fact that the tax environment here is a lot better. I wanted you to, touch up a little bit more.
Yeah, that's
topic.
a huge benefit. If you live here in Florida, there's no state tax, no state income tax, to properly speak. That's a huge plus. I had the opportunity to. I didn't even have my license back then, but I was talking to someone who came from New York. And the number he mentioned, I'm not gonna say it here, just, but the number they mentioned, sorry, what he was paying in taxes every year. He and his wife and his two lovely kids, they decided to walk out of New York. They were living in New York, and they decided to walk out of there because only with that amount of taxes they could, I don't know, live like 2-3 months, because it was too much. And that's a huge advantage. If you live here in Florida, you are going to keep that money in your pocket, and that's a huge one because you are able to save and if you're able to save, you are able to buy and to invest and to improve your economic situation.
Is that another state that has well, I don't want to say anything bad, but like that kind of tax system is California. California has a graduated state income tax, and I think it ranges between 1% and 13%.
I mean, there was a lot of movement during the pandemic, and after the pandemic, we had a lot of movement from people in California and people in New York. I mean, I think those were two of the biggest states where they saw they were hurt, definitely, because a lot of people left to Miami.
And that's a funny thing about taxes. As when you go too deep into economy, you see a society that is fully taxed, it's not as prosperous, and the revenue is not as much as when you have like a untaxed economic, because people grow the money more and they don't try to find the cuts to avoid paying taxes. That's a funny thing. That's interesting, not funny. That's interesting. What it looks for helping the economy is it does the entire opposite.
Right.
So people come here to keep the money in their pocket. I think mostly that's
Absolutely.
a huge reason to move here to Florida.
Absolutely. So another thing that I wanted to add on to, because I did mention it earlier, was the companies that are relocating here once again. Citadel, for example, this is a hedge fund owned by, or I think the founder is Ken Griffin. They're already building a high rise in downtown Miami. With these companies coming here, economically speaking, how what happens is, as more people move to Miami for these big companies, they have big incomes, a lot of disposable income. They're able to inject that money into our local economy.
Yeah,
And as a result, what do you get?
economic growth.
Economic growth, higher prices, things like that. You know,
I think Amazon is planning to make a move soon.
yeah.
They've been
Amazon-
talking about it.
Amazon has warehouses all around the
Jeff
city.
Bezos already made a move.
Yeah, he already moved here to Florida. He bought like three.
He has like 3 properties, yeah.
Yeah, but huge properties. And
Yeah.
in what place? That's also Apple bought like $64 million or something like that. I don't quite remember the number exactly, but in Coral Gables, not long
They
ago.
bought something recently. I do remember that
An
as
office building. That's gonna create.
well.
I don't know how many jobs is that gonna create.
A lot
That's
of
a lot of
And-
new opportunities to work here. They are going to move their most valuable assets, their most valuable employees, or
That's what I was gonna say, yeah.
yeah, they are maybe going to move them, but they're not going to move the entire, I don't know, workforce
And most
from
companies
another
will
state.
pay for their move.
Yeah, they do.
Oh,
And
yeah.
again,
They do.
These companies have Apple's market cap is like almost $2 trillion. They'll pay for their move. They're gonna pay for their housing. They're gonna pay for everything. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. So I mean, population growth. The Port of Miami.
Miami World
that's-
Center.
Huh?
Miami World Center.
Miami World Center is another
Which,
one.
by the way, is not finished, and it's sorry that I caught you.
No, don't worry about it. Go
It's
ahead. This is what
by
we
the
do.
way, it's not fully completed, but
Ah.
it's fully leased until
Really?
yeah. Look for it, you'll see it. It's fully leased. There's gonna be all kind of shops there.
Oh.
And the transformation that if you drive around, you're gonna see it. The transformation that the area is having right now, it's huge with all the new structure with that redirecting the traffic, the walking traffic, the pedestrians. They're trying to adjust everything to make like traffic easier, well, for what is coming to Miami World Center.
Yeah.
So that's gonna also create a lot of job opportunities right there in the heart of Miami downtown.
And more people are gonna be
More
traveling over
people.
to Miami.
Yeah,
I
of
think
course.
there's a lot of things headed that are good to Miami in the years to come.
I mean, people see Miami like unaffordable. It's not. Some people do. It's not like a full lie. If you gotta do, you gotta do good. You gotta make some money to maybe to afford to live in Brickell, but just other spots in the city that you can live and not that expensive.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of reasons to live here, to buy here, to own here, to invest here. We could be here all night talking about what reasons we have
Absolutely.
to do that.
No, I was actually gonna mention a little fact about as far as the affordability goes here. I saw this and it kind of not really scared me, but it was like kind of eye opening. The average home price here in Miami, Florida, is $620,000. The median income, $68,000. That makes it very difficult for the
Yeah.
average person to buy. And I mean,
You see, but you know what happened? Like 2-3 years ago, people
Right.
bought. I have it in my family.
uh,
Really close to me. They bought a home in Miramar. That's way up north. That's Broward. That's not even Miami-Dade. That's already Broward. It's in a limit with Miami-Dade. They bought a home. It was around 333,000 $333,000. Today, I run a CMA on that house and on the entire neighborhood, and they award 526, 530. That's the range, and so that's money in people's pocket
absolutely.
because they can use that. Not too much people realize that when they bought a home 2-3 years ago, nobody was thinking about that kind of money. That's $100,000 in your pocket.
You can't
Yep.
plan for those type of. I mean, during COVID, there was. I mean, not there was some. There was a lot of homes that went up 100% in value. If you bought it for 300, 600.
Yeah.
It's worth 600 now. That's pretty crazy. So buying and selling. One tip that you guys could give the viewers at home um, when it comes to buying or selling a home, and then we'll take it off from there.
You want to take it, Javier?
Okay. Well, for selling, let's keep with that example. That's I think that house is from 1978 or something like that. So the house has over 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
It's actually a little bit more.
Yeah.
And the first thing I mentioned the owners, because they are maybe thinking to relocate. It was roof. It was the roof I mentioned, because you're gonna get your price down if your roof is not new. You're gonna get your price down
Yeah.
if your, I don't know, your pipes are not good. Your house has over 50 years. You gotta do an inspection. That's the first thing I recommend. Do an inspection of your home. Find the major problems of your home,
Yeah.
because otherwise, when the buyer comes, and it will come with an inspector mostly,
Yeah. Absolutely.
they will find the problems and they will drop the price down from, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 grand
And it's not only that. If the roof is bad, you're gonna have troubles getting insurance.
with the insurance.
Yes.
You're gonna
I
have
mean, at
trouble.
the same time, I feel like you have to find a balance, because sellers should not also drastically over improve the property either. Because I mean,
Yeah,
the
of course.
property sold as is condition.
I agree.
Of
So you
course.
gotta find a balance, right? Fixing some stuff so the buyer is closer to the asking price, but not to a point where they
Yeah, of
lose.
course.
But yeah, in a house like that, that's older from that age, I don't know. I think my suggestion would be, just look at the numbers. I think oftentimes, we're invested in our property, in our home, right? It's more than just bricks and sticks. That's a nice quote. It's more than just bricks and sticks. It's a home. You raise your family there, you have gatherings there, memories, whatnot. And so oftentimes when you go to sell your home and you sit down with a realtor, right, you're thinking of this number, this imaginary number in your head, because it's what you want to get. And oftentimes I think that hurts the property more than it does help, because if it's not worth it and the numbers don't show it, the proof is not in the pudding, then I mean the property is just gonna sit on the market longer than
That's not
needed.
gonna sell.
So I would just say look at the numbers and trust your realtor to give you an accurate estimate of what your home is worth. And if you choose to list it above what their recommendation is, then definitely after 2 to 3 weeks, then you guys need to have a conversation and evaluate what your home is worth and drop down the price again. I think that would be my tip.
Great advice.
Great.
I personally, make sure the house is clean, organized. If you have a garden, tidy up a little bit for the picture so they can look nice online. We have an agent in our office. Her name is Daisy Oliveros. And I remember she tells the story of one time that there was this listing that, I don't want to say the name of the group because I don't want to get in trouble or anything like that. But they're very famous in the luxury space. They had this listing and they weren't able to sell it. And then ultimately it ends up expiring after I think a year or so. And Daisy ends up getting the listing. I don't know how she went about that. And the first thing that she did was she got professional photos taken of the property. And she made sure that everything looked very nice. And I think within the first week, they already had an offer.
Oh.
Definitely, if you list a home for sale and you don't get an offer, like say a month, at least one offer, there's something wrong.
Must be.
Right here in Miami,
Typically, yeah.
there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Or the price, or the house, or the neighborhood, or the whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two things that affect the property, right? It's pricing and exposure. If you're not exposing the property, then no one's going to find out about the property. And if you're not pricing it correctly, then people are not going to want to buy the home, right? So those two factors, I think, are a big part of why homes take longer to sell than they should be. So it's all about the number and it's all about the exposure.
Yeah. Going back with Daisy's story, I jumped in the MLS like 2-3 days ago and looking for a property for this guy I talked to you about today.
Uh-huh.
And I found a property that could be interesting, but the pictures were a messy house. Like everything was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There was even pictures with the furniture full of clothes. And you say, how anybody will do that? if you're listing with us, if you're listing with our office, you're gonna get a professional photography.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a video. You're gonna get maybe even a drone footage or your whole property. You can get all that. There's no reason to not to do that. That's actually your job. There's no reason not to do your best. I'm not a photographer. Okay, I can hire one. I'm not a videographer. Okay, I can hire one too, and to do the work properly to make sure the house has, but not to lie to people, because that's the other side of the coin.
Sometimes the pictures are too edited.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want that either.
You don't want that. Yeah. Not to lie to people, but to get the right impression of the property you are trying to sell, and to sell it fast, not to have it sit in the market 6, 7, 8 months.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And then buyers. That's a piece of advice that I could give you is save money. Don't get a new car. Don't max out your credit cards before you go to get qualified at the bank, because it's going to ruin it for you. Make sure to save as much money as possible. Lower the amount of debt that you have, and stay working. Stay at the same job, because if there's some form of I guess you could say interruption between the start of employment to the time that you want to get qualified, it will affect you.
It will affect you.
I agree.
Also, your credit.
Your credit.
If you you have to try to fix your credit. Maybe you had something. You have something on your credit that's holding your credit score. There's professionals to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a huge. They're gonna ask it. That's the first thing they're gonna ask, actually.
Absolutely.
And the other huge piece of advice for buyers: find the right buyer agent right now.
Yeah.
That is true.
Because the market has changed.
Yeah.
Market has changed, and you need to know that you're represented correctly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think with that, I believe we gave a good amount of information to the people at home, as far as moving to Miami goes. This is probably something that we could even add on to in a future episode.
I was thinking about how to edit the video, like putting the welcome to Miami, but we don't have the copyright.
Yeah.
You heard it from me live.
You're just going to take the video down.
Yeah. I mean, any last words you guys want to give?
No. That's pretty much it. Welcome to Miami.
Definitely, Miami, it's for me the best city in this country. No hard feelings for anybody. I love the city. I love the vibe. I love the economic. I love the movement. I love even the weather. Although I'm a cloudy guy, let's say for the weather, not for my not for my mood or personality. Yeah. Okay, but definitely you can enjoy living here with no questions asked.
Yeah.
Amen. Well, that sums up the show, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and make sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at The Real Talk Miami, and we'll see you on the next episode.
See ya.